So we've just had, I think, a very fun precedent set, believe it or not, by a local newspaper. That, of course, being Nottinghamshire Live. Now, you may remember the fact they put out an article saying that if these two councillors voted against the leader Mick Barton's plan for local government reorganisation, they would have their whip removed. Now, they did do that. So far, they haven't had their whip removed. But methinks there might have been other consequences maybe coming down the line, because if I've seen anything from Mick Barton and his, appearances when we've watched the council meetings or stuff that we've seen or the way he's acted, he's very authoritarian. I think that man holds a grudge. Oh boy, those two councillors might have faced something in the near future. Who knows? See if he can get away with it, shall we say? But with that ban being put in place, then it got lifted against the Local Democracy Reporting Service, which is like a BBC-funded initiative to help improve, local democracy, local reporting, which I think is a really good initiative by the BBC. Those that was lifted on them, but still not Nottinghamshire Live and Notts Post. Why? They then went, well, okay, if you're not going to lift the ban on us, we're taking you to court. And oh boy, did they. So this is now escalated. And I said if this went to court, it would be very, very embarrassing. Very, very embarrassing for them indeed, because they would have to justify that decision. They would have to produce the communications. They would have to produce all the reasoning behind all this. And I don't think they wanted to do that. I think it would be very, very embarrassing indeed. So today, we can announce, well, yesterday indeed, because it happened, I believe, on Friday, they actually said, we're undoing the ban. You can go back on the mailing list. You can go back on, being invited to the events that we put on. The fine, which again, victory for democracy, local reporting service. But as I've always said, this entire story goes to prove this Reform UK, the supposed champion of free speech. No, it's free speech up to a point. Free speech up to the point where you start criticizing them. But this has set a very interesting precedent where, let's say, other local newspapers get this ban. Well, we're taking it to court. Why not? Why not indeed? So, with that said, let us find out then. Let us find out how this has all come to a absolute climactic end. And quite frankly, if I were Nottinghamshire Post or again Nottinghamshire Live, headline news, front page news on Monday, quite frankly, honestly, just really rub it in their faces. Rub it in their faces so much. But before we do that, please, of course, do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button down below. Do remember to ring the bell as well. Down below, there's links to the Patreon page. There's a Buy Me Coffee link where you can buy me coffee, the YouTube thank you button, and of course, the YouTube membership down below. Link over there in the QR code will take you also to the Patreon page as well. So thank you very much to all those people who do help and support the channel that way. And of course, as always, thank you very much to all the people who do. And of course, remember to leave a comment as well what you think about all this. Again, the party of free speech, but not only refusing to talk to local journalists, but also banning local newspapers. Hardly a free speech party at all, really, there. But let's crack on then into this. So, it's coming from the BBC reporting on this. The ban on local paper lifted, say Reform Council lawyers. So, Reform UK Nottinghamshire County Council now appears to have lifted a ban on a local newspaper. County Councillor Mick Barton banned the Nottingham Post and its online arm, Nottinghamshire Live, from speaking to him and other councillors now with immediate effect on August the 28th. The law firm CMS LLP served the council with a legal letter on Tuesday on behalf of Reach, the organisation that runs the publisher, calling now for the ban to be fully withdrawn. Oh boy, I want. Sometimes I wish I had like the alternate universe viewer. I would have loved to have seen what this court case would have played out, how this would have played out had this gone to court. With the entertainment we've missed out on, the sheer entertainment we have missed out on this not going to court. But as I said many times, I would be very surprised if they actually let this go to court. They would not let this embarrassing thing happen to them. I think this is where Reform HQ itself stepped in and go, okay, you're going to undo the ban because you don't want to go to the court. You don't want Discovery coming out and saying, oh yeah, here's this email of a really butthurt Mick Barton demanding that they ban this local newspaper. You know, I have a feeling somewhere in the council that email exists, and if any, should we say, Nottinghamshire council worker were to ever, let that slip out into the wild, you'd be doing the Lord's work on that one. Anyway, back to this. The County Council's team manager for litigation, Geoff Russell, responded to the letter, saying that it would now provide the Post with full press releases and invite them to council events. However, the Post said it now remained unclear as to whether Barton would now actually speak to them, and added that they were at least committing to trying to build a working relationship going forward. Barton has been approached for comment, and of course he's not going to respond. The guy is as salty as they come. He is absolutely as salty as they come. And I think they go over what they were going to go here, the whole thing on this, but good on them for sticking to their guns and deciding to take them to the court on this. I think this was the right thing for them to do on this. Absolutely the right thing for them to do on this. But the main question now comes, I think you'll probably see this because we're already seeing this. Councillors will refuse to engage with local democracy, the reporting service, to refuse to engage with local reporters, newspapers, unless they are giving them softball questions, or they are the ones saying, here's our press release, print it in your paper, to which a newspaper is going, no, because we've got several questions about what you are putting forward on this. And of course, that's not how journalism works. But these reform people wish it did. They do not want to be questioned. They don't want to be scrutinized. But they are, and they are not doing a very good job. And it will always be these local reporters, these local newspapers that will uncover it. Always. And I keep on reminding you, having a local newspaper in your area, if you've got one, support it, buy it, even if it's like once a month, once a week. Yeah, well, once a week's, maybe a bit much, but support it. Honestly, it will help that local newspaper so much, especially when we've seen so many areas just lose their local newspaper completely. That's why the Local Democracy Reporting Service, again, a BBC-funded initiative, also the reason why we should be funding the BBC, because it can do things like this, for areas that have lost their local newspaper. So important. I think the initiative should be expanded even more, to be honest. But hey, it's a start. It's a start. It's still early days technically for it. I think it's already proven to be quite a success. I think there is every reason they should expand this even more and put some more money into it, so there can be some more local journalists in these areas. But honestly, big victory for this. I think this sets a very interesting precedent for other local outlets if they get a similar ban from a reform council in the future. Just take him to court. Take him to court. Best thing to do. Ultimately, though, what I think we will see is the continuing reluctance or the refusal of these councillors to speak to local reporters, because we're already seeing that. The National Union of Journalists has already come out and said, yeah, they're not speaking to local journalists at all. That's been a pattern since the very beginning. Very beginning. They've always refused. They've flat out refused. Why? Order from office down in London, do not speak to local journalists. Do not speak to any journalists whatsoever. Because otherwise, it makes the party look bad. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think about all this. Quite frankly, if I was the editor of this newspaper, front page, Monday morning, victory. Just really rub it in our faces. But as always, thank you very much for watching. Do remember to click on the like and share on the way out. Do leave a comment as well down below what you think about all this. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.